Yo, what's up, YouTube? So I got a question from a younger YouTuber, and he wanted to know, or he wanted my take on why I felt like a lot of younger black men and women waste time in bad relationships. And before I start, I would like to say that I think the issue of wasting time, it happens with black people a lot, but it's an issue that a lot of teenagers and young adults make, especially in the age that we're living in now. So I guess this video pretty much applies to to everybody who's listening to the vid. So first I want to talk about the whole idea of history. Oftentimes we get into relationships when we're younger, maybe in high school, early in college. And we're with these people for 1, 2, even 3 years, but life happens. People grow, okay? So you either grow together, you grow apart, or one grows while the other one remains stagnant, okay? But nevertheless, people grow, people move apart, and we don't always move together. So people often find themselves wanting to break up out of a relationship. Okay? But what happens? People break up and they want to move on. But they hold on to the person that they were with because they have this whole idea that history, right, the fact that they've been together for a year, 2, even 3, means that it's going to work. Okay? Means that somehow they're going to make the changes and they're going to be compatible. And it's usually one side thinking that the other one's going to change. Not that both are going to change, but one side is going to change to accommodate the other. So he's going to step his game up, or she's going to step her game up, so that we once again will become compatible. Okay? That's the flaw with relying on history. Now, I understand that you've been together for a while and you've had some good and some bad experiences, but people often forget why they broke up. You just grew apart. Okay, you grew apart, and that's part of life. I remember in college, my first 2 years, for me and my friends, it was often frustrating because you go about meeting new women, and you talk, chill, hang out, get close, get personal, but you can never seal the deal and actually enter any sort of meaningful relationship, because oftentimes they would run back to the person they had history with. Okay, they would run back. They would run back because they were overhyping the whole idea of having history. They were still relying on the fact that they were together so long that this person has to change. And like I said before, no one can take away the history. No one can take away what you've been through. But that doesn't mean that your future is going to be the best it can be with that person. Okay? So oftentimes, these women will get close to us, but then they will say, oh, no, I got to go back. We have history. And then what happens? They go back, and then they realize that they still aren't compatible, right? And they even waste more time. So sometimes it takes women 1 breakup, 2 breakups, even 3 breakups to finally get to the point that they are not compatible, and that the fact that they have history isn't going to change anything. So these same women who were first year, second years were on some I've been with this dude since I was a sophomore, junior, we have the history and we're going to try to make it work. And by the time they got to their senior years, their 4th and 5th years, they finally realized that it wasn't going to work. But at that time, what happened? A lot of the dudes already moved on. We got the first years who come in and the second years who come in, and there's more girls than guys, so we weren't really tripping. Okay, you know what I mean? It is what it is. So oftentimes these women were just out of luck because they were single and ready to mingle, quote unquote, but there was no one there to be single and ready to mingle with. And unfortunately, they've wasted 4, 5, even 6 years of their lives, when really all they needed was 2 or 3 years to understand that they were never compatible to begin with. They were never going to have a future. And the same could go for men. I've had friends who made the mistake of trying to hold on to an old relationship because he thought that she would step up and do away with some of her negative ways, so to speak, and it never worked. So by the time they finally realized that, I gotta move on, some of the other chicks that were available to him have also moved on, or they've graduated, or they're just not interested anymore. So you end up wasting more time, right? If you're gonna get back with somebody after a breakup, don't do it because of history. Don't do it simply for the fact that you've been together and you've had good times and bad times. If you're not compatible and you don't have a future together, it's not going to work. It's not. And like I said before, we as young adults and younger people, even those younger, I think I've already learned that lesson. But in our younger years, we truly feel like history is going to actually do something for us. So, I guess this video is even more directed to those who are younger, right? Because if we're older, I think most of us have already learned that lesson, or we should have, or, we're in danger. Compatibility is compatibility. You have to ask yourself, do you have a future with this person? Right? And oftentimes, we are afraid to ask that question. A lot of young black women are afraid to ask themselves, do I have a future with this person? A lot of young black men fail to ask themselves, do I really have a future with this woman? Right? And we're too reliant on history. Right? And most of the time, we suffer from nostalgia. Right? That's the problem with history. I guess I should have said that in the beginning. It's all nostalgia. If you don't know what nostalgia means, look it up. But it's pretty much when you look back in your past and you remember things not for what they were, but for what you wanted them to be. Okay, so you overinflate different people, you overinflate different activities because you want to remember them as being good and great and not mediocre, average, or bad. So I don't know, hopefully this answered your question, young man, and anybody else who's also maybe in the same position or even in a relationship right now, ask yourself, do you have a future? So let me know how you feel. Take it easy. God bless.